1 year ago, on a whim, I decided to start streaming games. You see, I like modding Wii's, but I have a ton of games and I never end up actually playing them. So, I guess streaming was my way of revisiting old games and getting me to play new games I've always wanted to play. In the past year, I've streamed about 30 games, and I wanted to rank them all based on how much I enjoyed them. In my first couple streams, I played Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, and I eventually went on to play Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Odyssey, and Super Mario 64. Side note, my early streams were not the best. It's really satisfying to see how far I've come since then. I could talk about my feelings on the Mario series, but I would be beating a dead horse. I thought all the games were solid. Call it nostalgia, but I enjoyed Super Mario Galaxy the most out of these picks. So I'll put it in A tier. Super Mario Galaxy 2 was great for its mechanics and its more varied levels, but overall I enjoyed Super Mario Galaxy 1 more for the atmosphere, pun intended. So I'll put it right below Super Mario Galaxy in A tier. I think the weakest of the bunch has to be Super Mario 64. It's still fun, but sometimes the controls and level design can be jank. So let's put it in B tier. Super Mario Sunshine, while still jank, feels more polished and fleshed out than Super Mario 64. It also has some of the best and snappiest controls in any 3D Mario game. However, it can still be quite jank and the blue coins are the devil, so I'll put it just above Super Mario 64 in B tier. Finally, Super Mario Odyssey. I remember really liking this when I played it for the first time back in 2017, but after playing it again, I thought it was alright. I think I'll put it above Galaxy 1 in A tier, because the controls and exploration are the best out of all of these games. The next series I dove into was the Portal series. These are short and sweet, with only 2 games, both of which can be completed in a few hours or less. Both of them go into S tier. They are just incredible puzzle games with great voice acting, comedy, story, and atmosphere. Though, I think I prefer Portal 2 more than Portal 1 for the better mechanics and also Wheatley. I love Wheatley. So, it will go just above Portal 1. After Portal, I went back to Nintendo with The Legend of Zelda. I played Skyward Sword, Majora's Mask, and Twilight Princess. It was my first time playing Skyward Sword, and I gotta say, I was impressed by how ambitious this game was. Though, maybe it was a little too ambitious for the limits of the Wii. This might be the only game I've played where they went just a bit too far with the motion controls, making them finicky to use at times. That being said, I really love the story and presentation, so I'll put it in the B tier, right above Super Mario Sunshine. I remember really liking Twilight Princess when I played it for the first time, but when I played it again, I wasn't as impressed. I think it feels really epic in this game, and there are a lot of cool toys, but I think fatigue sets in towards the end of the game with how long it is. So I'll put it in A tier, right below the Galaxy games. Finally, there's the masterpiece that is Majora's Mask. The graphics may be crappy, but it adds to the atmosphere. I love the mask and time management gameplay in those games, and I love how there are so many side quests where you get to see the residents of the world cope with the world ending. It makes it feel like a real world, which is why it easily goes in S tier. Maybe not as good as the Portal games though. Luigi's Mansion. What a quirky little series. I played the first and third entries. Luigi's Mansion 1 is solid and oozes with charm, but it feels cumbersome and dated at times, so maybe I'll put it in B tier. Not quite as good as Super Mario 64. Luigi's Mansion 3 is much better in my opinion. It doesn't have the same atmosphere as the first game, but it still has tons of charm, and the more varied gameplay, floors, and puzzles made it an easy step up from the first game. So I'll put it below Twilight Princess in A tier. This next game shocked me. Celeste was a game I thought would take 2, maybe 3 streams, but I ended up doing 7 streams. It did take me 2 streams to beat the game, but I loved it so much that I had to go back and 100% the game. Kinda. The game is quite challenging, but it never feels frustrating because the level design is really fair to the player, which makes it so rewarding. Celeste has a rock-solid foundation of snappy controls with tight gameplay. On top of that, it has a good story, beautiful visuals, and absolutely incredible music. and finally beating that last level was one of the most satisfying things in the game. Also, interesting thing to note, this had my longest stream at 12.5 hours. But yeah, incredible game, a must play if you like platforming games. Easily S tier above the other games. From there, I played Xenoblade Chronicles, and this game, oh boy, this game. My least favorite part about this game was playing it. And maybe I'm not an RPG person, but I struggled a ton with this game. I could get the basics, but there were so many upgrades and armors and combos and character links and attack choices. We were either figuring that out or grinding, and I chose to grind, which could only get me so far, and even then, it wasn't enough, and I failed to beat the final boss and lost 8 hours of progress. That being said, I still adore this game. The graphics, I think, are still breathtaking, especially when considering it's a game from the Wii. And the music was great too. The presentation of the story with its twists and turns had me at the edge of my seat and invested. Not to mention, when I finally beat that dragon, it was one of the most satisfying things in the game. Oh my god, that was the best thing ever. I give this an S tier for the incredible story. And if I was actually good with RPGs, this would no doubt be higher up. This next game is a little odd. I decided to play a VR chat world called Climbing Carnival. It's one of those worlds that are like a game of their own. Basically, all you do is climb a really tall rock using these ice pick things. It's about 36.5 kilometers to the top, and basically it just involves you swinging your arms for 6 to 8 hours. It's not exactly a polished masterpiece, and it doesn't really have interesting gameplay, but it's fun when you play it with friends. Even though I enjoy this kind of stuff, I feel bad putting it above any of these games. So it'll have to be the worst ranking game so far. It'll go in a C tier. At this point, we're halfway through all the games. So I just want to take the time to talk about the art I made for my streams of these games. You might have noticed on the tier list, I've represented the games with art of me dressed up as the characters in the games. Ever since I played Skyward Sword, I decided to make a piece of art for each game I play. Well, besides the Portal and Galaxy games, because I got lazy and reused art between the both of them when I retroactively made art for them. Some of the art pieces are original, but most of them are based off of the box art or concept art. Some of them are kind of janky and weird, but overall, I like most of them. Each one took me an average of just over 2 hours, with the longest one being my art for Metroid Prime 3 at 3 hours 14 minutes, and my shortest being tied between Katamari Damacy and Okami. My art program only rounds at the nearest minute, so we may never know which one took shortest. Anyway, back to the game train. I played the entire mainline Half-Life series, those being Half-Life 1, 2, and Alyx. I consider the episodes part of Half-Life 2, especially since the 20th anniversary update added them to one game. The first Half-Life game was just good, dumb fun. It felt good to just blaze around the hallways, shoot some things, and progress. Plus, you could shoot the scientists, A tier. Half-Life 2 and the episodes were fun, and are a lot more story-driven, with great world building and good characters. Though, I think I had more silly fun with the first game, so I'll put it right below it in A tier. In Half-Life Alyx, this game feels more like a survival horror game than the first two games, and it's incredible. It's so easy to get immersed in the story and the mystery, and City 17 has never looked this gorgeous. It's one of the best VR games ever, and the best Half-Life game in my opinion, so easily S tier. Okami was a game that I played, and I don't know what it was about it, but I really didn't enjoy the game that much. I mean, it's a fine game, but I wasn't really having fun. It doesn't help that there were issues with the application constantly crashing.
Fuck. Did it crash?
Not only that, it caused other applications on my computer to crash too, which was so weird. But there was a cute doggy though. Unfortunately, I need to put it in C tier. Still a fine game, but I think I would prefer swinging my arms for 6 hours again than play this game, so I'll put it under Climbing Carnival. Tunic is another one of those games that surprised me. I knew it would be a fun little Zelda-like game, but I didn't realize just how challenging but fair the gameplay would be, and how rewarding it would be to figure out all the puzzles. I don't want to spoil too much about it, because it really is worth it going in and figuring these things out for yourself. Another game that surprised me puts it right at the top of S tier. Not as good as Celeste though. It's at this point where I kinda got into Metroid. I ended up playing all 3 of the Metroid Prime games, Super Metroid, and Metroid Dread. Metroid Prime was a good, solid game. Some of the backtracking and navigation was far-fetched.
Oh, fuck you.
And the artifact hunt at the end of the game was blatant padding, but it was a solid game with good graphics and good vibes. So I will get it an A tier, below Luigi's Mansion 3. Metroid Prime 2, however, took the first game and got rid of the rough edges. It flowed a lot better, had better puzzles, and had much better boss fights. There still was a fetch quest at the end, but it was less annoying, and by the end I really enjoyed my time with it. So I'll put it up higher in A tier. Here works. And Prime 3. That game was wild. I really enjoyed the first 4 hours or so for some reason, but then the rest started to feel a bit drab. Maybe it was the music or fatigue from playing so much Metroid Prime, but by the end I wasn't too impressed. B tier feels right. Super Metroid was fun. Some of the game design was antiquated, and some of the controls are hard to master, but I must say, it was satisfying to master it and get to the end of that game. I could see that this game would be great to replay, and I could see it's solid all around. So I might say it's just a bit better than Metroid Prime 2. Maybe S tier? No, let's put it in A tier. And the final Metroid game I played was Metroid Dread. It took everything I liked about Super Metroid and streamlined it. Samus controls better and has more movement options. The game design is modernized and effortlessly corralled me from place to place. It also looks gorgeous. Now this will be an S tier. But where? Oh god, I don't know anymore. I'll just put it here. This game also gets the award for the shortest stream I've done. I failed to beat the final boss in the previous stream, so I went in expecting it to take a while, but I beat it almost right away. Katamari Damacy is a fun little game. Just rolling up some balls while listening to some banging music. And wow, this music is awesome. The whole game is just so fun and silly. I'll give it an A. Let's put it in the middle of the pack. It's hard to compare a game about rolling balls to one where you suck up ghosts or explore dungeons. Next up is the first 3 Pikmin games. I really enjoyed the thrill of the first game. Crash landing on a planet and slowly getting parts back for your ship under a time limit had me invested, and I had fun navigating the landscape and solving mini puzzles to get to places I needed to go. I really enjoyed it. I'll give it an A tier. The second Pikmin game was fun too, but it disappointed me. Having 2 captains to work with made things interesting, but it was rarely used in puzzle solving, which was a missed opportunity. And the addition of caves was cool, and the monsters were thrilling, but it was just too many caves. They overstayed their welcome. I think Pikmin is better when the focus is on time management and navigation instead of Pikmin management and combat, especially when the Pikmin are so hard to manage. Also, the final boss is randomly a lot harder than the rest of the game, so I'll put this in B tier.
Stand together! We are strong when we fight alongside each other. Don't back down. Kill!
I think Pikmin 3 played to the strengths of the first 2 Pikmin games. It leans more into the puzzle solving, exploration, and time management side of things like the first game, and it actually uses the fact that there are multiple captains more than Pikmin 2 ever did. Unfortunately, time wasn't as limited as it was in the first game, but overall, I think it's better than the first game, so S tier, I guess. Alright, last but certainly not least, there's Resident Evil 4. This was my special way to end off 1 year of streams. It feels like not the type of game I would play, but I've actually wanted to play it for a while. There's not much to say about this game that hasn't been said before, but I think it was just a really solid game, and despite the fact that it's 20 years old, it feels like it could have been released today. The mechanics hold up, and I think the graphics look good, especially in cutscenes. I had no real complaints about it other than maybe it was hard to tell that this was a door.
That's a door? What the hell is this a door? What the fuck?
I never really realized until after I beat the game, but some of the things Leon says and do are just so silly.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
No
Sure
way,
does.
Leon.
Way.
Oh god.
What a fun game. At this point, I don't know where to put anything on the list. This is the only Resident Evil game I've played, and thus it's my favorite. So screw it, S tier. Overall, this whole list might be a bit silly. The games are so different they're hard to compare, and they have different goals and audiences. And I ended up enjoying most of the games, so everything's high up on the tier list. Here, let's balance it out a bit. Yeah, that works. At the end of the day, I'm just doing this all for fun, and hopefully some of you guys have some fun as well. It's crazy to think that over the past year I spent 532 hours playing 30 games across over 130 streams, and on top of that, I made a bunch of fun art along the way. If I didn't start streaming, I don't think I would ever have ended up playing most of these games. I think I could finally say that I'm a gamer. Alright. I can't wait to see what games I get myself into this next year. But until then, I'll see yous all next time.